Hi everyone, it's your boy Jeff. Today we are looking at property number 2. So we're doing what they call a 30-day property search to find some gold mine in the market. This gold mine is exclusively purely multi-family units, and the goal is to see and identify this gold mine while avoiding other landmines. And if along the line we come across certain red flags, our goal is to help you identify why these are red flags and why you should avoid these red flags in the future. We are looking at a potential, it could be single family units, it could be multi-family units, or of course, even a commercial property that you might think of going into. Now, the property we found number 2, one was located in terms of a location, we say it got the check mark. So we have certain parameters we look for when we classify a property in a certain location, and that property met location criteria. Number 2, it met also our population because there's growth potential. So that was good. That was good. However, the property itself, it's a single family unit converted into a multi-family unit. If you don't know what that means, well, that's a whole different ball game entirely. On the MLS listing, it was listed as a single family unit. What the owners did was to convert the single family unit, the basement, into a 2-bed, 2-bath conversion. Now, the issue with that is several factors. One, there might be a violation. In fact, technically that's a violation, and so you need to verify or validate with the state if that is allowed, if the state has given approval for that conversion, which likely is not the case. Number 2 is, because of that conversion, there's an ingress window issue. So the ingress window, what it means is it's a red flag when there's a fire issue or a fire hazard in the property, because it means there's no escape routes being built into that particular single family converted into a multi-family unit. Now, that's a huge red flag. Why? Because safety is priority. And so if you buy a property that is supposed to be a multi-family unit, but it was a single family unit converted into a multi-family unit, you've just bought yourself an issue that you don't want to get yourself involved in the long run. And again, in terms of the price point, for the price per square footage, it was under $110 or $113 per square footage. However, again, important, you have to validate the actual living square footage. Now, that's very important. And so, what this listing broker might provide, listen guys, let me take a step backwards. You have to get to the realization that the listing broker can lie, the owners can lie. The properties listings you see online, Zillow, you use LoopNet, you use Crexy, you use all other mediums out there, can lie. The only platform that tells me the truth, if all brokers lie, the only platform that tells me the truth is InvestFusion. And why is it so? I've said this over and over again. The old way of doing business, the old way of investing in multi-family properties is gone, unless you love to lose money. If you love to lose money, then maybe that's your own way of living life as an investor. For me, if the NOI doesn't match up, if the numbers don't match up, if I don't see built-in equity, if I don't see a potential cash flowing opportunity, it's a red flag. It's like catching a falling knife. And of course, what that means in essence is that you're going to bleed and keep bleeding because of ignorance. Now there's no longer an excuse and say, I was not aware. The excuse of saying, oh, I'm not a broker. The excuse of saying, oh, I didn't know this. Several things you need to understand. I do this. I'll give you an example today. When I spoke with my broker today and I began to ask some questions, the appraisal report, she said, why are you asking about an appraisal report? And I said, because I'm supposed to know this. Why? Because I use it. I say I use a platform called InvestFusion, and she was shocked. She's never heard about it before. So why is this important? One, the previous appraisal report gives you 2 things. One, it tells you the actual living square footage of the property that was done by an independent appraiser who appraised the property and validates the actual living square footage. Now, the selling broker or the owner might give you a different square footage. Why is square footage so important? What is this heck, or what's going on about square footage? Square footage is like you buying a piece of land. If you go in and they tell you this piece of land is the dimension of the piece of land is XYZ, you're paying for that XYZ. If in any way of this transaction that XYZ is not accurate, it means you are paying full price for half value. if that makes sense. Trying to use a very simple analogy to drive home the point. The reality is, square footage is the meat in the bone in the entry level of what you're purchasing, and so the price must match what you're told to be the actual square footage. Now, I will tell you, a large number of investors don't even know, okay, what do I do? How do I validate this? Now, if you have to validate this the old way, you have to call an appraiser. Now, if you are appraising a multi-family unit, it's going to cost you anywhere from $500 to anywhere about $2,000. If you are appraising a commercial property, it's going to cost you anywhere from about $1,500 to over $10,000. With InvestFusion, guys, before I leave my home, I'm able to identify the actual appraisal report that was done, the previous appraisal report, and validate the actual square footage of the property. If that makes sense. And so that's one of the unique features that we have. And that's why no other platform provides this opportunity. That's number one. Number two about the property in question was the reality that though it was a custom built multi-family unit or a conversion, there are several things that were wrong the unit makes. So you have a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. That's not technically, something is wrong about that. If you guys can put your heads up around it. What do we observe? We observe that the owner who lived in that property did what they call an internal conversion. So there's structural build done in that property that was not shown on both the MLS, was not shown on Zillow, was not shown on all the listing platforms that were used. So there were several conversions within that property that was done. Violation of the state. Now, if an investor who have not seen this or watched this video go ahead to purchase that property, they've just purchased something that in the long term, one, they'll be held accountable by the state. They've violated state violations. They have no ingress windows in the building itself. Several red flags just off the bat. And this property was priced over $350,000. So imagine an investor spending over $350,000 on a property that has so many red flags because they are not aware. And why was I aware of this? Because of the power of InvestFusion. So one, it identifies that there's a potential violation on this property because one of that structural change that was done within the property itself. So that's a red flag, guys. So the point is this. The days of just giving excuses that, well, I'm not an expert, I'm not a broker, I don't have the expertise to know how to look at markets. I relied heavily on my broker, or I relied heavily on what I saw on the newspaper, on the papers. It's gone. This is time to take ownership. This is the time for you to take control of your own investment. This is time for you to tell yourself, guys, I can't take control. I will understand that this is our potential gold mines. How do you identify these gold mines? You don't have to do this work yourself anymore. That's excuse of saying, oh, blaming someone is gone. You have to take ownership, and that's what InvestFusion does for you. What does it do for you? Just in a nutshell. Number one, it identifies BTIs. BTIs are big ticket items. Are there any foggy windows? Are there any roofing issues? Are there any structural damage? Are there any potential state violations that will be on that property when you assume that property? Because if you buy that property, you are assuming the risk. Ignorance is not an excuse. So you're going to assume those risks, and that's what will prevent you from doing right from the onset. Plus, you have access to the appraisal report. Imagine, appraisal reports go anywhere from $500 to $10,000. You have that in your fingers without even paying a penny out of your pocket. Plus, before you even put your money into a contract, you know upset, is this property going to be green? Is this green by means, is there cash flow? Is there built-in equity in this property? You have to understand that the smart investors, this is not an opportunity for everyone. So if you're watching this, it's not for everyone who just thinks, oh, I just want to play with the market. No. This is unique opportunity for unique investors, for savvy investors, for investors who are different. So if you want to be among those different investors, you want to be classified as among the savvy investors, then this is for you. And if you want to raise your hand and say, Jeff, I want to be among those ones to validate and put InvestFusion into work, we're giving us access to over 30 new individuals. This has been opened, it has been closed for a while. We're opening access for 30 new beta testers. If you want to be among those ones, hurry up right now and leave a comment below this video and say, Jeff, I want to be among the testers. Again, I repeat, only 30 individuals will have access to this unique tool. There is no other platform out there in the world that collapses both multifamily units and commercial and do what InvestVision does. Zero, there's none. So you don't have an option. This is the only opportunity you have to have access to having savvy knowledge, understanding this knowledge, and collapsing what InvestVision does. You are collapsing over 10 plus 15 years experience being put into play with our AI-powered platform. Guys, I hope you found this useful. Until next time, I will give you updates on some other new properties we are out there to search for. Bye for now.